I'm Ahava Leetag. Welcome back to What Did You Learn? If you are getting this video on LinkedIn, we want you to know that there's a longer version available on YouTube. And we also have a podcast version wherever you get your podcasts. So go ahead and search What Did You Learn? I am thrilled today to have with me Jonathan Bryant, who's the Chief Servant Officer for SiteStaff Chat, which is an engagement service for senior living and elective medicine. So right in our wheelhouse of healthcare communicators. Jonathan, welcome.
Thanks, Ahava. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. So I just want to point out his orange couch. How cool is that, everybody? Really nice piece of furniture there. Bold statement. So Jonathan, just so that let's get comfortable. So just so my audience can learn a little bit about you, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream and how much of it did you eat during the pandemic?
You know, I have a lot of favorites, Ahava, especially during the pandemic. So I'd say I've probably eaten more maybe Rocky Road or chocolate chip than anything. It's usually got chocolate in it, though.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that because I'm not friends with people who like vanilla. Although my husband is a big vanilla guy, but it makes sense that I'm a chocolate girl because, you know, opposites attract. How have you sort of gotten your team and helped your employees and your colleagues really focus on what needed to happen? Because obviously the kind of service that you run, and I would love for you to talk a little bit more about that. How do you feel like, you were able to galvanize everybody's resources and really focus on what was needed to get done for the industries that you serve?
It's a great question, and I promise you this, Ahava, I don't have the answers. What we've done is have a really genuine interest in trying to be of help. So I think that the first thing we did was we listened, we learned, and then we were very proactive at reaching out to our client base to just try to find out what needed to change at the beginning of the pandemic. And what helped us is that we were Johnny on the spot. I was fearful of coming to work that Monday. I'm never fearful to come to work. I love what I do. But I was really worried about knee-jerk reactions that might happen when the stock market takes a plunge, and some of the clients that we serve are funded by REITs, by the banks, and there were a couple of knee-jerk reactions. But I am proud to say that because of our protocol, we didn't lose a single one. But I will tell you that the reason is anytime that my team will ask something or face a challenge or an obstacle, I'll tell them, well, what would our chat host do? Or how can you live your inner chat host? And our inner chat host is proactive. They are always going to serve a purpose before they ever ask for anything in return. And they're always going to have meaningful conversation, inject empathy into a conversation to form emotional connections. Now, strategically, in the way we serve our clients, that's to influence the buying decision. The way we used it was to simply say, we're here, we want to help. There are no poor questions. There are no questions off limits. What can we do to be of value to you right now? And I think that just taking that course of action is the reason we're still here today.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the fact that empathy is the biggest word behind you. Like, I think it's so critical because I actually have a whole theory that I'm thinking about writing about, which is called Authenticity Isn't a Tactic, How 2020 Changed Marketing. And I think that,
Wow.
Authenticity is now core, right? Like, you just can't avoid it with all the things that have happened. Consumers are so quick to recognize when, you're pushing them off or you're not being, sort of proactive in communicating your message. Tell us a little bit about what SiteStaff Chat does.
Well, we're an engagement service. Ultimately, we happen to use a very unique form of live chat that we built, that we constructed, that we continue to develop our technology. But the fact of the matter is, Ahava, is there's a reason why empathy is the largest word there. And that's because it really describes our company. There is no substitute for the human element in an otherwise robotic process on a website, especially when it comes to matters of the heart. And so even though the buyer journey has changed dramatically over the last 5 years, especially over the last year, the industries that we serve, the clients that we serve have such an emotional journey, such an emotional purchase that you need to simply have the human component involved. And now, obviously during the pandemic, healthcare institutions might have had another front door, but make no mistake, the primary front door is that of their website. And in often cases, it's the only front door they have, especially when it comes to senior living. So it's our responsibility to first be students, then servants in that order. But what that means is that we need to understand every client's culture of care. Culture of care doesn't have to just be healthcare. Culture of care can be a law firm. Culture of care can be what you and I do, Ahava, as far as what our culture is. I think our culture is very care oriented at SiteStaff, and it defines us, and we live by it. And so as long as we can understand a culture of care, convey that effectively in a way that the visitor understands it, and we're there to understand and give credence to the level of pain that they're in. And it could be physical, but most of the time it's emotional. And it's the reason why people don't convert otherwise off of a website. They don't want to call because they're experiencing a myriad of emotions: fear, pain, anger, frustration. My favorite is embarrassment, that they're just not ready because they're so ill prepared and they don't want to tell anybody about it. And so what they need is somebody there to offer a hand, let them know that they understand, and that they're with them in this journey, and that we can be of help. And that's what our job is, to engage them, empathize with them, make them comfortable taking the next step.
It's funny because it sounds exactly like what I say about written content or video content, or it's that anticipate people's questions, think about what their needs are, and respond to them with empathy. And that will keep them engaged in the process. I was just teaching my daughter, she's writing an essay, and I was talking to her about writing, and I said to her, every sentence is a tool to keep the reader reading to the next sentence. And it's exactly what you're talking about. Every engagement, every interaction is to keep them moving along that sort of buyer journey, which is obviously extremely sensitive in the senior living space because, people are contemplating a major life change, or they're contemplating one for their parent. So we're in the middle of COVID. The most vulnerable population that you serve is, seniors, and all of this data is coming out. These nursing homes and these senior care living facilities are just sort of like overrun, not sure what to do. Health guidance is changing every 5 minutes. What are you doing? Like, where are you in that moment where you're sort of feeding that updated content to your chat staff? Like, what are you telling them?
Well, the first thing is that we have to be proactive in our outreach, because these amazing caregivers, these healthcare heroes, Ahava, that I marvel at what they've done to be there before. These are people that are so maybe still underappreciated, but they're so overworked, they're so spent emotionally. It's incredibly taxing, and it's also very dangerous. The caregivers in senior living, and even healthcare institutions, even in elective medicine, most of the lowest paid people are at the highest risk and are doing the most amazing work. And so the first thing we do is realize that something needs to change immediately, because instantly, overnight, life was not the same as what it was. But we need to understand, okay, well, what is life like now? Because a more assertive approach to somebody who no longer wants to experience in danger, because as you mentioned, these are the groups that are at highest risk. And if they have a choice right now, they're going to wait to move, where this before was a luxury. These people, the clients that we serve have wonderful names, sparkling reputations, but they're hurting. They're having to work so much harder now than they ever had to before, because pickings are slim, and so we need to make sure that we understand a revised strategy. And sometimes that is very much slowing down the sales process and not being so assertive to try to move the needle. And I can honestly tell you, in the roughly 1,800 communities that we serve today, there's not a single client, whether it's one individual building or almost 200 communities. We serve everyone uniquely because of that. And I can tell you, in almost every single case, it's different than it was in March.
So let's sort of shift gears a little bit. I want to ask you, when this first started, you talked a little bit about, the stock market tumbling and just sort of thinking about, oh my gosh, what are we going to do next? What do you wish you had known if somebody could have said to you in January, hey, Jonathan, this is about to happen, believe it or not a drill. What would you have wanted to have known?
Honestly, I would say the same answer that our clients would say is, I wish I would have been better prepared. We weren't prepared for this either. Thankfully, we were able to be there and retain our clients, but we were incredibly unprepared. We couldn't have expected that this would have changed our lives dramatically in the way that it has, that it would have represented so much of an income stream loss, that it would have cost so many jobs. I think that we collectively in this world, as business owners, really needed to have a rapid response plan. Now, ironically, that's kind of what we ended up doing for all of our clients. Our chat volume went up roughly 200%, even though for a period of about 3 or 4 weeks, our volume of leads reduced to around 65 to 70%. Because of the crisis communication, because of all the family members that simply needed to know what a protocol was going on to protect their loved ones, or because of the massive shutdowns of cities that prevented their cosmetic case from happening. But the rules changed on city levels, county, state, federal, and we had to be quick to the trigger to really understand exactly what we needed to communicate to the people that needed answers, because we have value beyond lead generation.
We're having a drink at a conference, and you turn to me and you say, "You know what, this is the one thing I know that I have in my toolbox now that I learned from this pandemic that I will never let go of in my approach." What would that be?
Want, desire, unquenchable thirst for knowledge that our clients possess in order to do our job better. I can easily rub people the wrong way because I'm not really ever satisfied. I'm so proud, but my team gets tired of hearing it. I kind of have I have a big engine, and I work a lot, and I think we have to have a genuine desire to outwork everybody to earn the tenure of our clients that we have. We have a 98% retention rate at Hava, and I can tell you most of that is because of what the chat hosts do every day that fuels their brand as well as obviously their purse. But we have to be the very best vendor partner that we can be, and always looking for ways to where we can get better. We just need to make sure that we're doing everything we can to genuinely be there for everybody, and that people know it's not about what we gain, it's about trying to be a part of the solution.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. Where can people find you, Jonathan?
You can go to SiteStaffChat.com. I give everybody my cell phone number because I always answer it. Pick up the phone and I can have very good, productive conversations about trying to help.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We will see you next time on What Did You Learn?